Hello everyone. To this video, I would like to recite my insight learning regarding on Module 7 to Module 9. And before we start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Erin Imbadenas, BSSW2A, and I would like to discuss my learning in Module 7, the understanding the individual as a client. In this module, I have learned the meaning of the terms client, of social work, and the characteristics of and dynamics of the various types of individual clients in the social work practice. A client of social work and in clinical social work practice, we are confronted with the individual or family as our clients. And the terms of clients by considering it is not a state but more as a process whereby people are becoming acting and as a moving away from being a client of social work. And there are the various types of clients by each group. It helps to understand the individual is the knowledge of the life cycle, which was based on the psychosocial theory of Erik Erikson. The life cycle matrix, which indicates the development task and development crisis of each stage of development, can be useful to determining whether a particular client's behavior or crises are within normal or appropriate for the stage of life in which he belongs. And there are a cycle of the clients by each group is a prenatal, infant, toddler, early school age, middle school age, early adolescence, and late adolescence, early adulthood, middle adulthood, and the late adulthood. This conception has been successfully used by social workers not only in terms of understanding client but it also intervention plan. So additionally, they have prescribed the following guidelines interviewing the child. During the first interview, the social work conduct the following activities such as inquire from the child what he knows or assumes about the purpose of the interview to guide the child perception. And the second is explain the reason why need to explain the reason why the worker wants to speak with the child using a comprehensible and understanding language that is appropriate and simple enough to the correspond to the age of the child. And genuine as a word of caution, the social worker should not disguise the professional interview as a reaction and purpose. So this is important. The workers must have in her mind a clear purpose prior to the interview. So, and then the next is self introduction is necessary during the initial contact with the client with the child, in which the worker explains simply to the child who she is, how she wants to be addressed by the child. And the next is limits. Uh, be clear about the limits of confidentiality. So, workers should observe in making a promise to keep a secret may cause problems later, or especially if there is no certain that it can be kept. The next is play. So, using play is a natural method of communication. The child can be helped to act out his or her feelings, her play, and body language. The worker must be conscious of her posture, facial expression, eye contact, and touch to help her communication with the child. Body language is important when working the child, and then individual differences. So as a social worker, we need to consider that each child is unique and react to things, even or to other people differently. And then the next is control. So some behavior controls are necessary during the interview, especially for the child. Worker must explain clearly the roles of the child, including the consequences of for breaking them. You are not allowed to go, such as you are not allowed you are not allowed to go in out and out of this room without asking permission from me. If you do, I will put away the toys. So that's the example of control. So control your feeling or emotions. So the next is feelings. It is important for the workers to share her feelings with the child. In doing so, so that the child is being helped to see that his or her feelings is normal and encouraged to feel free to share her feeling, to normalizing the situation. And the next is care. So show real interest and concern for the child's feelings and thoughts, so the child will feel more secure and accepted. And structure. The interview must have structure and routine depending on the child needs. And then the next is family. Remembers that each child has his own unique experience with significant people, particularly those belonging to her family circle. And there's have a problem for children usually fall under five categories. This is a conflict with self, lack of information about the self, lack of skills, conflict with other, and lack of information about the environment. And I have learned the other people of the clients is some clients appear to us because others refer them, and some come but discontinue the process in the middle, and some come because referral is required, or they come because they were cord or simply, and they come in their own violation. and and for module 8, understanding the family, so according to Johnson, uh, defines the concept as a conscious systematic process of perceiving, understanding, the comparing simultaneously, and the values, attitudes, and behavior of the larger social system with those of the client. So immediate family and community system. This simply means that every individual is a part of two systems, namely as a societal system operating within the normal and values of the dominant groups within the social, and the smaller system operating within the individual's immediate environment. The individual cultural system problem may arise the develop two individual, family, or cultural groups of these two systems are not congruent in terms of norms, values, expectation, and their way of functioning. And the dual perspective provides us with an understanding of specific cultural group, as well as an understanding of specific immediate and environmental system of any person or group of persons. This serves as a tool in assessing the transaction of the family belongs to specific cultural group, or coming from minority cultures with the larger dominant society. And making an assessment of the family context using the dual perspective approach, the following are some pointers of to consider. And identify points of difference such as conflicting expectation between the two systems, or between the family and the larger system, and note the degree of difference of the number of the characteristics that are different, so as to determine and congruity between the family and larger system. Remember, family behavior is the seen, observed, and understood, also the larger cultural context in which is embedded. And see how the system perceive the difference, and how to a difference affect the function. This is to identify the function of a family behavior within the context of what the normal or particular family cultural, but may considered dysfunctional in another culture. So it is also important to take note of the extent of which a family has become culturated into the mainstream culture of how their functioning has been affected by this assess family effectiveness in coping as they accommodate and dominant cultures and rejuvenate their roots with their reference group and assess family needs for basic resources such as food, health, care, housing, and etc. And their ability to secure such as uh, their resources. And for the module 9, the psychosocial approach introduction, and the focus of the psychosocial approach and the psychosocial approach is embed a social systems perspective and system referred to as to person in the situation and configuration. This means that in order to help our clients we need to see how they see interact and transact with a significant other in this life, and these significant others may be made by or by his family, a social group of those people, his educational and employment militias, or more other social system of which he is a part. So the concept of stress and press, the worker must respond to clients and needs in individuals way. Treatment must be different according to the particular needs of the client as they understands to define these needs. And stress within the persons and press is external world of the persons interact each with each other very degree and the complex ways such as exchange cause conflict which creates discomfort and the client and relationship and transference. Other two important concepts is we need to consider the approach or the accept of relationship and transference. A and according to Payne, emphasize on the worker's purposive use the help of a helpful relationship for clients to think about and try to understand his person and situation state thoughts reflection. This is defined as thinking about the trying to understand which is the client is an accepting relationship.